Hey everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Swoop Podcast. It's your guest for the night, Dante Fantuzzi. I'm here with my partner,
Josh Sanchez.
And yesterday was Selection Sunday for all of our college basketball fans. March Madness is on its way here, and the brackets are officially out.
Yes,
So
they
what
are.
me and Josh are going to discuss for today is our brackets and who do we think can make the final four, and who just a little prediction on our national championship winner. I got my winner. Do you have yours?
Yes, I do have my winner.
All right, so you got yours, I got mine, and we're gonna be here to discuss it for today.
And I just want to say before we get started, Northwestern, their first ever tournament appearance. Doug, the announcer Doug Collins.
Yeah.
His son is the coach of Northwestern, so I think he's in the running for Coach of the Year. I think he's not going to win it, but he'll be close. So just big shout out to Northwestern and their first ever tournament. And do you want to get started, or do you want me to get started first?
I'm gonna let you get started first. Who do you have for your Final Four?
All right, so coming out of the East, well, as of right now, I have Villanova coming out of the East only because
a lot of teams do.
Yeah, a lot. I know a lot of people do, but a lot of people, shockingly, on ESPN and like all the other major sports networks, they have Duke coming out of the East. Duke had a great run in the ACC tournament. I'm not gonna lie, they did, but I just think Villanova does not get enough credit for what they're doing.
But can I ask you a question then?
Yeah.
Are you saying this because you're a Villanova fan?
No, I'm just saying because they play.
Because remember, you can't be biased to this type of situation.
Yeah, I'm not biased at all.
Right.
The reason why I'm saying Villanova is because their team, they play as a team. Their defense is very underrated. And they're one of the highest efficiency shooting teams in all of college basketball. And I think Virginia's going to get upsetted by UNC Wilmington in the first round.
I don't think that at all.
And because you know how March Madness is, there's upsets coming everywhere.
There's going to be upsets coming.
So I have Villanova coming out of the East.
Okay.
Now the West, here's where there's going to be a little bit of a change. Gonzaga is the number 1 seed, but I do not have Gonzaga winning. I have Florida State getting upsetted by Florida Gulf Coast. They're called Dunk City. They're the most athletic team in college basketball, in my opinion. I have Notre Dame coming out of that, a 5 seed coming out into the Final Four. They're going to make an impressive run. I'm calling it right now. And
they haven't done it since they lost Jerry and Grant.
I know, but what I see out of Notre Dame is I saw them in the ACC tournament. They play really good team basketball. They have good shooting off the perimeter, and their bracket's not really that tough. Like you have Gonzaga, the 1 seed, and then you play, and their toughest opponent will probably be West Virginia. And
press Virginia.
You press Virginia, but you already know what happens with West Virginia in the tournament. They're good, but they're not.
But they're always going to give that one team a run for their
they'll
money.
give them a good run.
Yeah.
But I just see if they're able to beat West Virginia, I think they'll go to the Final Four because Arizona's not really scary to me. Like they did win the Pac-12, but Oregon's best defensive player tore his ACL, and when you lose your best defensive player, I don't care who you are, you're not gonna win the whole tournament. Now the South, I have North Carolina coming out of the South, only because I think North Carolina is a very complete team, and as history has shown in the past, when North Carolina loses in the semifinals of the ACC tournament, they go on to win March Madness. So I just think North Carolina, they have the experience from last year, as well as Villanova too, and I just think that they're one of the most complete teams in this bracket, and I think.
So just a quick question.
Yeah.
From last year's North Carolina team, who stayed? Bryce Johnson left. Marcus Page was a senior.
I don't know their names off the top of my head. But they're. I got to think about it because I don't know their names off the top of my head. Like I don't memorize their names off the top of my head. But I just think what they have going this year is very similar to what they're doing last year. And I just think they're going to have another good run to the title. I mean, again, like their first 2 games are easy. You have Seton Hall. Seton Hall's decent, but North Carolina is just going to prevail. And I mean, their toughest opponent is either going to be UCLA or Kentucky, if they can advance. And UCLA, their offense is great, but their defense, there's some question marks on their defense. And Kentucky's really young. And Wichita State is a very scary team, which I think they might be able to pull an upset here or there. They have the potential to do that. And then coming out of the Midwest, here's where I'm going to sound crazy. I have Michigan coming out of the Midwest and to complete the Final Four. Because as we see in the past, it's never been all number one seeds in the Final Four. It's a mixture of the two. And you always have that one weird seed coming out. And when I picture Michigan, when they went to the finals, they had Trey Burke. And I saw them in the Big Ten tournament. They're on fire now. They have a very strong backcourt, similar to what they had a couple years ago when they went to the finals. And I think Michigan's going to have a good run. I think they're going to upset Louisville and upset Kansas as well. And I know it may sound a little bit crazy, but we all see it's March Madness. Anything can happen. So just to recap, my Final Four: Villanova, Notre Dame, North Carolina, and Michigan. That's my Final Four.
Michigan.
Yes.
All right. I get where you're coming from. Unlike you, on the other hand. Wait, repeat your Final Four again. I'm sorry.
All right. Villanova,
Uh-huh.
Notre Dame,
Uh-huh.
Michigan,
Uh-huh.
and North Carolina.
All right. Well, I have a complete different Final Four from you.
And that's fine.
A complete different Final Four. My Final Four teams are Duke and Gonzaga.
Gonzaga. You trust Gonzaga.
Mm-hmm.
You trust them.
Mm-hmm. And Louisville and Kentucky.
So you're going all twos.
Yes. Well, except for Gonzaga. Gonzaga's number one.
Yeah, no, Gonzaga's number one. So you're going ones and twos?
Yes. I see Villanova getting to the Elite Eight, but I just feel like Duke has more talent than them. One thing that Villanova definitely does have an advantage on is that they have, they have a bunch of upperclassmen and they have good depth coming off the bench. That's a major key for them.
Yes.
But one thing that I just think Duke has more talent than them overall. I mean, Jason Tatum is now catching fire for the I think it was the playoffs before the March Madness tournament. He was averaging 20 a game. Grace Allen, we all know what he can do. Luke Kennard has come onto the scene, has exploded, and is potentially a top 15, top 20 pick to go into the draft. And I just feel like Duke has more talent than Villanova. Gonzaga, listen, the reason why I'm taking Gonzaga is because I don't really think that they're given much competition. I don't think there's too much competition coming out the West. Yeah, you have Arizona and St. Mary's, Florida State, Maryland, West Virginia, Notre Dame, and Northwestern. But like you said, Northwestern, they don't have any experience in the March Madness tournament. I believe West Virginia is just gonna beat Notre Dame. I got Florida State beating Maryland. I got Arizona beating St. Mary's, and I'm going off my round for 32. These are the teams I have in round 32.
Maryland's playing Xavier. Florida State's playing Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah, but I'm going off for obviously you can tell who I have winning.
Oh, so you want to add round of 32 as well?
Oh no, I'm just going off the teams that that are going to be there after the first round, that I think are going to be there. So I just don't think after round 64 and 32, they're not going to be given much competition to face. I mean, West Virginia's good. They will press you from the time the game starts to the time the game finishes. But I just think that Gonzaga has more talent there. And one upset that I do have is Florida State beating Arizona. I don't see Arizona getting there. People say they have a really good defense, but their opponent points per game average is 65.4, about to hit 66. to me, that's really not much.
Yeah.
And I don't. I think when it was the big games, they lost. For example, they they lost to UCLA. I mean, they played them 3 times, but they beat them twice. But the big game, and they lost to Gonzaga. So I don't even think they'll get to reach Gonzaga. But the one thing I do like about Florida State is their backcourt. I like the kid Wayne Bacon and the other kid Xavier Rhodes. Xavier. Pardon
Yeah,
me.
his name does sound familiar.
I'm just gonna have to give that a quick look up. But I just like their backcourt. I think that the kid Xavier, Dwayne Bacon have grown together. Now they understand each other. They can play with each other, and their backcourt reminds me a little bit of a John Wall, Bradley Beal backcourt. So I definitely like those two together. Um, Pardon me. Let me check the roster really quick.
Yeah, and then while you check the roster, I mean, I get what you're saying with Duke, but I just think everyone
Yeah,
is
pardon me. His name is Xavier Rathan Mays. That's who I'm talking about.
Xavier Rathan
Rathan
Mays.
Mays, yes, or Maya, something like that. But I mean, coming back down to my final four, um, and the other two teams that I have for final four is going to be Louisville and Kentucky. I don't know if you watched the game early in the year. Louisville beat Kentucky by 3, but and mind you, this is an in-state rivalry game.
Yeah.
They share the same state, so I think that Louisville just came up one, stole that one, but Kentucky now I'm taking Kentucky to win the whole thing. I love Kentucky.
Kentucky.
I love Malik Monk. I
No,
think.
they have great players, but again, it comes down to experience in some of those games. I get what you're saying. I get your direction, but I'm just gonna tell you a little bit of the other direction. Like we see teams that are stacked on paper lose in March Madness. When Kentucky won their title, they only had Julius Randle on their team. Like they were an 8 seed Kentucky when they won the national championship. It wasn't one of their best teams. Again with Michigan State. Michigan State last year got upsetted by a 15 seed and they were picked as favorites to win it all. And the Michigan State the year before, they had no one that was a first round pick, I believe, and they went to the Final Four. I think as a 10 seed. Or was that Syracuse? It was one
I
of
think it
those
was Syracuse.
But like we see these teams like they may be the best on paper, but when it comes down to tournament time and crunch time, the pressure gets to them. And I just think, I mean, it's college basketball. I'm expecting a lot of upsets. I mean, this year is a little bit different from last because we haven't seen that many like big upsets like we did last year. But I just think there's a matter of time when these upsets are going to start coming. I mean, it's not like I'm not going to say any 1 or 2 seeds going to lose in the first round. I don't predict that at all. But I think a couple 3 seeds are going to go down. A couple 5 seeds are going to go down. And that's just my honest opinion with everything.
Okay, but here's why I think Kentucky's going to take it all. They definitely have the best backcourt duo with the best front court I've seen in college basketball. You have Malik Monk, Isaiah Briscoe, and De'Aaron Fox. And you also have Bam Adebayo, who really, the reason why I like Bam Adebayo so much is because he's averaging a double-double every game. Night in, night out, he's giving you a double-double. But he's not the number one. So I think he's basically the fourth option to go to. He's the fourth option to go to in that Kentucky offense. The one problem that I see with Kentucky that they cannot get into is foul trouble. I'm pretty sure the last time they played Louisville, they were in foul trouble the whole game. Your whole front court was in foul trouble. By halftime, I think 3-4 players had two, 3 fouls going into halftime. And the college rules, you're only giving 5 fouls. So I believe that they were in deep foul trouble. That's one thing that they cannot do because they don't have much depth coming off the bench.
And another reason, I mean, I hope either me or you were right, but I think Wichita State's going to get a little payback because remember, as we see, Kentucky was the 8th seed a couple years ago. Wichita State was the number 1. And then people were saying, oh, Wichita State got robbed because why do they have to play an opponent like Kentucky in the second round? And that's what they're saying now with Nova and Wisconsin because Villanova is the number 1 seed out of the whole NCAA, my fault, the whole NCAA. And I just look at Wichita State playing in the second round. I think that's a scary matchup, like low key. I just have a gut feeling. It's college basketball. Anything can happen.
Well, I don't even see Virginia making it past the first round against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is just a well-coached team.
No, Wisconsin's playing Virginia Tech.
Yeah, but you
Virginia's
just said
playing
that.
UNC Wilmington.
No, I understand that, but
Yeah,
I said Virginia Tech. I don't see Wisconsin passing the first round against Virginia Tech. I don't see that for the simple fact that one, Virginia Tech is well coached. I can't remember the coach. I think his name is Buddy or something like that. But Virginia Tech, the reason why I like them is well, like I said, they're well coached, but few teams are just don't have as good of an offense they do.
Yeah, and I mean, do you want to predict a couple upsets, or do you want to just move on to our national champion?
I mean, you can predict a couple upsets if you want.
Yeah, because I'm kind of have a gut feeling with some of these games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, UNC Wilmington.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. One more thing I wanted to add
Yes.
to Virginia Tech is that their offense is just so efficient. They average 80 games. I mean, 80 games. Pardon me. They average 80 points a game. I mean, the record might not show that they're well efficient by going 22-10, because most efficient teams that we see on offense are, have single digit wins. But I just think they were so well coached. They believe in what the coach is doing. They believe in him, and they're just so efficient that it's hard to stop them.
Yeah. But
So that's why I don't see Wisconsin making it past. Because you brought up the topic that why people will complain that why does Wisconsin have to play a team like Villanova? So I mean, but that's just the reason why I say I don't think Wisconsin will get the chance because they're going to lose to Virginia Tech.
so that's your upset, your bold prediction.
I mean,
Do you have any others in mind that you have?
I don't necessarily see it as an upset because 9-8.
Yeah, that's a toss-up game.
It's not that it's a toss-up game, but it's like either one can be placed, here or there. I don't agree with the seeding at all.
Yeah.
With 9-8, but 9-8 is literally almost split right down the middle. In games played in one. So hold on, let me just try and see and look up the fact. Okay, the number 8 and number 9 seeds have split 128 meetings since 1985.
Yeah, so it's.
But last year number 9's won 3 or 4 matchups since the first time of 2007. But I just like Virginia Tech overall.
Mm-hmm. But
What's the next topic that you wanted to hit?
I just want to hit a couple upsets real quick that I have in mind that a lot of people are sleeping on. Starting with the East region, the games to look at for an upset: Virginia versus UNC Wilmington. Only because Virginia, they're great defensively, but if they have they're one of the worst offensive teams in the nation, and if they have a poor shooting day against UNC Wilmington, UNC Wilmington's gonna have a good day, gonna have a field day on Virginia because UNC Wilmington I think they're led by a group of seniors, and they have experience too in last year's tournament as well. So they're also in UD's conference, so I always hear them like around the area and stuff like that. I think UNC Wilmington's gonna have a good run in this tournament. Another game to look at in the East is Florida versus ETSU, only because Florida has not been the same team recently. They have been playing terribly of late, and
they went 9-3 in their last 12 games.
Yeah, 9-3 though. and they lost those 3 games they lost have been recent. I think they're on like a 2-game losing streak or something like that. They have been ice cold lately. And again, ETSU, I don't know what win streak they're on, but I think they're on an impressive winning streak. And
They won 13 of their last 15.
yeah, 13 of their last 15 games, and I just think they're hot right now. They just won their conference. They could give Florida a good run. Another one, I mean, SMU coming out of the East as a 6 seed, that's a very scary team as well because they're very athletic.
I mean, they did go 30-4.
Yeah, 30-4 as a 6 seed. Why are they a 6 seed if they go 30-4?
I mean, why did Virginia Tech get the 9th seed in their 22-10?
Yeah, I know. Like the seeding, like I don't know why SMU is a 6 seed. Because I just watched them. They're on the top 10 with the alley-oops and stuff
I think
like
it's
that.
just all opinionated because New Mexico went 28-5 and they're 14.
Well, that's because of their conference. They won their conference.
So maybe what does it come down? Does it come down to the conference? We don't know. I mean, I guess it's something behind the scenes that we don't know.
Yeah.
So it's something that we can't discuss.
So far, those are just like some teams to look out of the East. I mean, out of the West.
Well, to be honest with you, I think the better teams in the tournament are just so strong that I don't see many upsets coming out. Every year we expect big upsets from they'll be like, oh, well, I think this team can beat the number 1 team, or I believe 13 can beat 5 or whatever the case is, or 12 can beat 5. But I think that this tournament, the teams are just so talented. The better teams in the tournament, for example, Kentucky, Duke, Virginia Tech, Villanova, SMU, Baylor, and the list goes on and on. But the better teams that are in the tournament, I believe they're just so strong that I don't see an upset coming.
You don't see any upsets coming.
I mean, I see maybe 1 or 2, but I don't see many as in previous years. There'll probably be 4. Or if so.
Yeah, there's been a lot.
So I don't see a big upset. I don't see many upsets coming as in previous years.
Again, I've just been so used to seeing upsets with college basketball lately that I just think more are coming this year. Especially Iowa State versus Nevada. Nevada has, I don't know his name exactly, but he's an NBA ready guard. And they have a strong backcourt, one of the best shooting teams in the nation in Nevada.
You said Nevada?
Yeah, Nevada.
Let's try and look him up.
And then while you look him up, Nevada's a team to look out for. Rhode Island against Creighton, only because Creighton's best.
Are you talking Marcus Marshall?
Yeah, Marcus Marshall.
All right.
Out of Nevada, he's a very good and underrated guard.
Mm-hmm.
And
he looks like a Steph Curry type player.
Yeah.
He's hit 113 threes this season.
And 113 threes. It's bombs away in Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, history repeats itself, Dante.
Oh, yeah, of course it does.
Nevada could get on a run here. If they're cooking from 3. But I mean, it's March Madness. You don't know what happens.
There's no guarantee. I mean, yeah, like you said, it's March Madness, so you never know what happens.
Yeah.
But just out of curiosity, who do you have in your championship game?
Championship game, I would like a rematch because I feel like, because I go by years. 2016 was the year of the underdog or the team coming over the obstacle. I mean, I'm taking a chance now because I haven't seen any repeats, but I think this year might be the year of the repeat. Or the year of the same championship game. We already saw it with Clemson and Alabama. This year, I just have a gut feeling it might be Villanova and North Carolina again. But I think North Carolina will come out victorious this time.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I just have a gut feeling with that. Because and I see in the NBA now with the Warriors and Cavs again. It's I just think 2017 might be the year of the repeat finals. Where the same teams meet again, rematch. Because North Carolina wants that rematch.
Yeah, but NBA is pretty much set because we already know who leads the league in each conference. We're almost pretty much guaranteed to see Golden State and Cleveland again.
Yeah.
'Cause I just don't think in the East there's any team better than LeBron. I just don't think in the West there's any team better than Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
Although, I mean, in previous podcasts, I did say I don't see the Warriors getting there.
Yeah.
And I still don't. But I just think, there's a still bigger than usual chance that the Warriors will get there. But, I mean, so you see Villanova and North Carolina again in the championship. I see Duke and Kentucky getting there. I think both teams are just hitting that, they're like hitting that button, like it's go time button.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kentucky, like I said, their backcourt, their front court is just, I love their three guards. I love Isaiah Briscoe, I love Malik Monk, and I love De'Aaron Fox. Duke, their backcourt too, I love. You got Jason Tatum. You also got Luke Kennard. You also got Grayson Allen. And they still have returning fifth-year senior Emil Jefferson, who's definitely been there before, definitely played in there, definitely knows what he's going to be doing, and he has the experience. So, I mean, maybe another thing that Duke may be lacking a little bit is a little bit of depth coming off the bench. Pardon me. And like I just said, Jason Tatum he's rocking and rolling now.
Yeah, he looks like a Ben Simmons to me, like him in the transition.
Mm-hmm. See, one thing about Jason Tatum was that he was hurt to begin the season. I think he had an ankle injury or something like that. So, and a lot of ball players say the biggest transition from high school into college basketball is the game speed. So now I believe, after the full season, he's just ready to rock and roll is pretty much what I'm trying to say. I like this kid a lot. Grayson Allen, he's a junior, right? Yeah, Grayson Allen, he's a junior.
Yeah.
He's obviously been there before from his freshman year when they won with Jalil Okafor and Justice Winslow. So he's definitely had the experience. He's definitely been there. He has so much talent to him, but I just think that, because of mistakes and little childish stuff he does, it paints an image on him that really, really isn't him. I mean, when we all think of Grayson Allen, we all think of a bad kid, dirty player, and etc. But I just don't really think that's him. I just think sometimes he doesn't make the best decision, the best choices.
I think he gets caught up in the moment.
Yeah, you
like,
can
let's
say
say
that.
let's say someone breaks his ankles or something, or let's say he drives into the lane, doesn't get a foul called, but then when his matchup does the same thing on him and gets a foul called, he gets caught up in the moment.
Mm-hmm. So we never know, and I just think both teams have so much talent to their team.
All right, so just to recap,
Mm-hmm.
my Final Four: Villanova, Notre Dame, Michigan, and North Carolina. And then I have Villanova and North Carolina as my championship, a rematch of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then your Final Four:
Duke versus Gonzaga, Louisville versus Kentucky.
And then you have Kentucky and
Duke in the championship with Kentucky winning.
Okay. So that's me and Dante's March Madness bracket. Well, some of our bracket.
Yeah, I really like Kentucky a lot, dude. I mean, I just can't explain enough. I think the only challenge they're going to be faced with is playing against Louisville. Maybe even playing against Arizona. Arizona is a pretty, would they play? No, they wouldn't be able to play Arizona. Pardon me. UNC would definitely give them a tough time. So would Louisville if they were to play in the Final Four. One thing, though, I just feel like Kentucky's just ready to get there. Like I said earlier, Louisville beat them in the first matchup. So I feel like Kentucky's ready to get that revenge on them. And it's going to be much sweeter to beat if they do get that rematch. It'll be much sweeter for them to play them in March Madness, in the Final Four, and beat them to go to the championship.
Oh, snap. Now, do you want to talk about anything else? You want to move on to NBA? Because we have been talking a lot about football lately.
Yeah, we have been talking a lot about football. But before we definitely hit our football topics, since we have been talking a lot about it, and there's definitely more news to talk about and cover, Lamarcus Aldridge, it's such a sad situation. He's out, I believe, for the remainder of the season with a heart condition. It's a sad situation for him, but we have to sort of keep it basketball a little bit. I don't want to get too personal with that because I don't want to
Yeah, like we see like what happened with like Chris Bosh and
yeah. So, but just a quick question: where do you think the Spurs go without him now?
I mean, they've been playing a little bit like without him, and I think they've been fine. Like, I mean, they're not obviously going to be like the same dominant team. I think they're going to be less on the post now, now that he's not there. But you still have Kawhi Leonard. You still have Patty Mills coming off the bench. You have Tony Parker. You have Pau Gasol. I think they'll use Pau Gasol more in their offense. And again, I'm going to say the same thing I say about the Patriots. The Spurs just have that system where you just put bits and pieces in, and they'll find a way no matter what happens to them. They'll always win 50-plus games, 1 or 2 seed in the West.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's still going to be a toe-to-toe, neck-and-neck race between them and the Warriors for the number 1 seed because the Warriors are dipping right now without Kevin Durant. But it does make it a little bit more interesting now because you see, like, what are the Spurs going to do? But they have that system. They'll find someone else, and they'll replace him pretty quickly. That's just how the Spurs are.
Well, I think the Spurs will be just fine without him. I mean, it's definitely a different team going without him. They don't have that front court presence. It is going to be different, like I just said, because Lamarcus Aldridge definitely is a game changer, and he does. I believe he creates those one-on-one matchups because when you get Lamarcus Aldridge in the paint in the post, there's so many moves he can do.
His mid-range game is dirty.
Yeah, and he definitely has a mid-range game to him. And he would definitely stop up and take a 3-1 here and there because he can hit it. So I definitely do think that it's going to be a game changer for the Spurs. But I don't think it's going to be too much of a game changer. They still have Paul Gasol. They still have Deadman. They still have David Lee coming off the bench as well. So I'm still a little bit comfortable. I'm still comfortable with the Spurs moving forward without him. Like you said, they still have Kawhi Leonard, Ginobili, Tony Parker, Patty Mills. So I definitely think Danny Green. I think they'll be fine without him. I mean, it'll be nice to have him, definitely. But I think they'll be just fine without him. There's not too much concern going on there.
Is that all you want to talk about with him, or do you want to move on to our next topic?
Let's definitely hit our next topic. Breaking news.
Yeah, more free agency news.
Benny Logan signed a 1-year deal with the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Philadelphia Eagles signed Nick Foles to a 2-year deal worth $11 million. Pretty much a trade if you think about it. We traded Benny Logan for Nick Foles.
Pretty much
so. Oh, and just before we started our podcast, Chase Daniels was cut today. Definitely saves us some money.
Yeah, saves us a lot of money.
So I'm pretty happy with the moves we're making.
I am too.
I mean, it does suck to lose Benny Logan.
But he's been hurt.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, so true. But I'm not pressed about it. I definitely think a quick replacement's not going to be hard to find. Pardon me. You can definitely move Vinny Curry into his spot. Today I was watching film on Vinny Curry, and
he's your man.
He is my man, but you can move him anywhere along that line. Because there was times when he was playing defensive end, and there was times when he was playing tackle. So you can definitely move him around that line. And now with Benny Logan not there, and us not having a true defensive end, because I think it's time for Marcus Smith to go. I'm definitely pulling the plug on him. We've given him 3 years to develop. He still hasn't done anything.
Yeah, was he Chip Kelly's first-round pick?
Yeah, he was one of Chip Kelly's picks.
Oh man.
So Chip Kelly's picks have turned out to be nothing so far. I'm not gonna pull the plug just yet on Nelson Aguilar, but Marcus Smith, I'm done with him. Time to pull the plug. It's time for him to go. But I mean, you can move Vinny Curry anywhere within that line, whether you decide to move him to end or tackle, and next to Fletcher Cox. You still got Brandon Graham on the opposite side. But I just think that since he's flexible in the draft, you can draft either position.
Mm-hmm.
You can draft opposite of where you want to put him. If you want to put him tackle, you can go defensive end. You can take the kid to know the kid from Nova. Who's going to put it like that. The kid from Villanova.
Yeah.
Or you want to leave Vinny Curry in the end to play defensive end, which I think he's a better fit there for Jim Schwartz's system. You can definitely go out and draft the defensive tackle. Or Dontari Poe is still a free agent. I don't think we have the money for him, but it's just some interest, just a little bit of intriguing in him. I definitely like him. It'll be pretty cool to see him, Dontari Poe, and Fletcher Cox back manning the middle.
That'll be scary. That's a scary
That's
sight.
something scary. That's something that gives me the chills a little bit. Jeez, I would definitely love to see him in the Eagles uniform. Do I think it'll happen? No, because we don't have the money for it. But it's just a thought. And the Eagles did restructure Zach Ertz's contract today.
That's good.
I think it saved them $2.58 million.
He had to
something like that.
reconstruct it. He only snaps in the last
He
2
only
weeks
wants
of the season.
he only wants to play in the second half of the season. The last 6 games, the last 4 to 6 games is when he decides to play. So, whatever.
Anything else?
Just
Anything
a quick
else?
question. Did you
Oh,
see
quick
the mock draft that was posted on Bleacher Report? I think 2 days ago.
No, not really. Why?
No. Did you? You know who our first round pick was in this mock draft?
Our first round pick was, well, for me, it was a defensive end out of Tennessee.
Oh no! I'm saying the mock draft that was posted on Bleacher Report
No,
about a
not
couple
really.
days back.
No,
But
not really.
just take a quick guess who you think our first round pick was.
Delvin Cook.
Nope.
I mean,
O.J. Howard.
O.J. Howard,
Yeah.
tight end.
Uh-huh.
What? Why? Why a tight end?
You're asking the wrong person. I'm gonna definitely have we have to ask that person.
I mean, he's a really good. He's a really good.
He's
tight
a really
end.
good tight end, but like, are we getting rid of Zach Ertz?
Are we getting rid of Brett Selleck?
And to be honest with you, if we were to get rid of Zach Ertz, I would definitely keep Brent Selleck as our number 1 tight end.
Yeah,
I believe
very
he's
underrated player.
I believe he is our best pass catcher that we have. I definitely think he still has it in him. He just can't do anything because Lane Johnson wants to take the drugs, or Jason Peters gets hurt, and he has to stay on the line and help block. I mean, last year Lane Johnson got suspended to 10 games, which forced Brent Selleck to help Vitae or
They call him Big V.
Yeah, help Big V and help him block. So I believe that's a main reason why we couldn't get Brent Selleck can't produce the way he normally can. Do you think the Eagles would keep Zach Ertz?
I mean, it depends on what Zach Ertz does this year for me. Either this year or the next 2 years. Because coming out of college, we thought he was going to be big time. And, I mean, he's been okay. He's not been, like, big time like we thought.
I mean, because every year, at the end of every year, he teases us, which leads to believe that, well, the following year, he's going to be this breakout tight end.
And then he never does.
He doesn't do anything until, like, the last 4 or 6 games of the season, and he teases us again.
Yeah,
I really have no idea.
Which is why I say give him these next 2 years to see.
I'll give him one more.
One more.
Second year in Doug Peterson's offense. And the West Coast offense that we run is really made like for tight ends to really be productive.
Yes.
I mean, look at when we had Brent Selleck, his prime years. What was it, 800 yards, 900 receiving yards?
And also, just 2 years ago with Doug Peterson and the Chiefs, Travis Kelce
Emerged
as a stud.
So I believe, and when we had L.J. Smith,
Mm-hmm.
So I believe the West Coast offense can really help any tight end in the game. So I just think it's maybe in this situation it could be the player, not the game. I mean, not the offense.
Yeah,
Sorry,
not the scheme, the player.
the player, not the offense that's being run. But
Yes.
you say 2 years. I say again by the end of this year, if he's still not productive, love you, but you got to go. It's a business at the end of the day.
I mean, that pick is very interesting because it would piss off a lot of fans because
I'm pretty sure it will.
it would make a lot of fans angry.
But I just think on offense we're set now
Yeah.
with our two receivers, our
And you
franchise
give
quarterback.
Matthews and Aguilar the fourth receiver.
Yeah, so.
Give them a shot.
What about our running back position? How would you address that? Will you keep Ryan Matthews?
No. I would not keep Ryan Matthews only because he's injury prone and he fumbles the ball too much. Like we all saw last year. Yeah, he's had his
Against the
fumbling
Lions
problems. Yeah, so I would cut him. I would give Smallwood another chance, but I would draft a rookie later in the draft. But I would have Smallwood as my running back one coming into this preseason. I just want to see what he can do. Give him a fair shot because over the past last year we had in the season it started out as Matthews' backfield, then it went to Darren Sproles' backfield, and then Smallwood got in there for 1 or 2 games. Give Smallwood a chance to see what he can do.
I think Doug Peterson pulls the plug quickly on his players. I think he pulls them. I mean, because we can tell last year he definitely pulled the plug very quick on Wendell Smallwood, and he did have that one game where he had 17 carries for 80 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
So the talent's there for him.
Is that against Atlanta?
No, that was against the Steelers.
The Steelers. Because I think he snapped against Atlanta too. Because we had over 200 rushing yards that game.
Was it Atlanta?
I'll just fact check that real quick.
Not too sure. But yeah, in the draft I would definitely. I think the reason why we haven't cut Ryan Matthews yet. I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place. But I think the real reason why we haven't cut Ryan Matthews is because if we do now, while he's still hurt, I think there's more money that we're gonna have to pay him.
Yeah.
We're definitely gonna have to pay him more money than what we would keep, what we would save if we released him when he got healthy.
And to fact check the Eagles game, we ran over 200 yards against Atlanta. Matthews had over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, but Smallwood had 13 for 70.
13.
13 for 70 against the Falcons.
Against the Falcons?
Yeah.
Okay. Check the game against the Steelers.
I know Sproles had that one breakout play.
Yeah.
I'm just double checking on that real quick. But I mean again. I just want to give Smallwood a chance to develop as a player, grow as a player.
I think if we were to draft a linebacker, not a linebacker, pardon me, a running back in this draft, such as a Joe Mixon, or they're even considering the other running back from Oklahoma, Samari Pendi. I don't know how to say his name. I'm not gonna. Yeah, so I'm definitely they definitely have him in a couple mock draft.
Yeah,
and him coming to Philly.
And to back your point up, Wendell Smallwood had 17 carries, 79 yards, and a touchdown.
All right, that was against the
Steelers.
Steelers, right? All right.
So he's had 2 decent games. He's got give him some carries, man.
I mean, some people it takes some. I think it takes some running backs 30 carries to hit 100 yards. He hit 17. He had 17 carries for 79 yards. So
impressive, yeah.
I'm impressed with that. I like it. He's definitely had some flashes over the course of the season. I just think the opportunities that he were given, that Doug Peterson gave him, either one week he was shining his opportunities, the next week Doug Peterson just wouldn't go back to him.
Yeah.
I think he pulls the plug way too quick.
Now, do you want to wrap everything up?
Let's ready to wrap this up.
All right, well, thank you for listening to our podcast. Like, subscribe, show friends, family.
One little thing we are going to be doing, we are going to be changing our name from Josh and Dante to Swoop Podcast. That's not just going to be on our YouTube channel. It's also going to be on our Twitter page and our Instagram page. So definitely. Matter of fact, by the time we upload this, the names will be changed
Yeah.
to Swoop Podcast. So when